Hello, and welcome to Connect with Control M. My name is Ronnie Cabrera. I am a technical support associate for both the Control M for ZOS and Control M distributed teams, and have been supporting Control M mainframe for the last 13 years and Control M for distributed for the last 4 years. Today we will discuss Control M variables, also known as Autoedits, and have a demo of how variables behave and some use cases. Let's take a look at the agenda. Today, we will be talking about the use of control M variables, the different types of variables available, how variable values are set using variable expressions, a couple of system parameters that could affect variables, the utilities that you can use in conjunction with variables. We will then proceed to a demonstration of the use of variables. You'd probably notice that I mentioned AutoEdit in our title page, and I haven't mentioned it again. For those who have used this in version 7 and lower, Autoedits was the term used for variables. We will be using version 8 terminology in this presentation, so we will be referring to them as variables. We will also be using version 8 when we go through our demonstration. You can download the presentation by clicking above on File and then Save. Typically, it is best to save as a PDF. If you have any technical questions about the presentation, please post them in the Q&A panel to the right. We will answer your questions at the end. Please post any non-technical questions in the chat. Let's proceed to our main topics. Remember how we've always been asked to find the value of the variable x in math class? Well, with Control M, we will have to be looking for the value of %%x. That's because variables in Control M are identified by the %% prefix. All variables consist of a name and the variable value. You can use Control M variables in a job to access information about the system under which a job is running. You can also use them to pass information to a job or to pass information from one job to another. You can also use the Control M variables to pass information in a notification or do mail message. We will show you some of those uses in the demo portion of our presentation. Let's look at the different types of variables available. Variables are divided into the following types. Job submission variables pass parameters to a job. Most commonly used ones are the %% farm variables, which when set are automatically passed as arguments to the script. System variables are automatically assigned values using system information available at the time of job submission. User-defined variables are self-explanatory. They are user-defined. However, I do want to mention global variables at this point, since they fall under the user-defined variable type. The %% prefix designates a variable as a global variable. These variables, once defined, are available to all jobs originating from the same Control M server in which the global variable has been defined. Variable list uses the %% live_mem_sim special variable to point to a file containing a list of variable assignments. Again, you will see these different types of variables in our demo. Let's step up to variable expressions. Variable expressions are the means by which we assign values to variables. They can be elementary, numeric, string, or variable functions. Both elementary and numeric expressions are pretty straightforward. Elementary simply consists of the name, the equal sign, and the variable value. Numeric makes use of the %% plus or the %% minus operators. String expressions uses the period to separate one variable from another or a variable from a string. There is no concatenation operator to concatenate a string with a variable value. Variable functions makes use of one of the 4 functions available: %% calculate, %$ calculate, %% get ENV, and %% substring. Let's look at the system parameters that affects variables. There are two system parameters that could affect the way variables are processed in Control-M. The Control-M server system parameter, variable _inc_sec, tells Control-M which variables to pass to the Control-M agent for every submitted job. The possible values tells you what variable levels are included. The next level includes the one that precedes it. The default is local, which means that only variables local to the job is sent to the agent. Group means Control-M will send both group and local variables. Global means global, group, and local variables are sent to the agent. System means Control-M will send all variables to the agent. While setting this parameter to system might be the easier thing to do to make sure all variables are sent to the agent, we discourage doing so because of the possible load it could impose on the system. The Autoedit inline parameter of Control-M agent controls whether variables passed to the agent are automatically converted into environment variables. The default is yes. Let's look at the utilities available for us to use with these variables. There are two utilities you can use in conjunction with variables. The CTM ST var utility displays the current value of a variable or a function. The CTM var utility defines, deletes, modifies, and displays global variables. I will show you how these utilities are used in the demonstration. Let us proceed to our demo. My desktop. Allow me to use this first job as a sort of a review of what we've discussed in the previous slide. In this first job I'm going to run, I will show you the following. First, that the job submission variables %% are automatically passed to the script as arguments. Second, that environment variables are automatically created from Control-M variables sent to the agent. Third, that you can use Control-M variables in messages you send to Control-M via the notification facility. Let's look at the variables I'm using in this job. As you can see, I'm using our job submission variables, %farm1 up to farm5, and setting them to these values to the right. Okay. Let's go ahead and order this job. And if we look at the job output, this job simply echoes the variables we've assigned to it. So if we look at the output of this job, you will see that I am displaying the value of these variables. Farm1 is set to 100. Farm2 is set to farm1 plus 100, which is 200. Farm3 is set to %% month, that %% day, meaning the concatenation of the variable month and the variable day, which resolves to 1217. I wanted to show you with farm4 what happens when you try to use a variable that Control-M knows nothing about. In this case, you will get the literal CTM ERR and the variable that Control-M was not able to resolve. This happened here because we didn't use a concatenation operator, the dot, and so when the substitution happened, Control-M resolves %day to the value of 17, and it concatenated it to %month, giving us the variable %month 17. Since we do not have a month 17 variable, it resolved to CTM ERR month 17. Farm 5 shows you the use of the function, get env OS type, and since our Control-M server OS type is Linux, you see the value Linux there. If we take a look quickly at the script, you will see that I am echoing the farm variables and using the Windows batch parameters %1, 2, and %5. We are also using %1 as our completion code on this script. So, okay. Also, back to the output, I use the set statement to show you the environment variables available to the job. And as you can see, farm 1 to farm 5 are now environment variables. There are also some control M system variables that are automatically converted to environment variables like job name, M name, and memlive. Okay, wanted to show you as well, if you look at the properties of this job again, I have defined a notification of when not okay on this job to send the message % job name and then not okay with the code of % comstat. And again, if we look at the output, we should see in the log that those variables are being used. As you can see, now our job name is in our message and our condition code of 100 is also in our message. The next pair of jobs I wanted to show you shows you how you can set a variable in one job and use that variable in another job. This A notify job will show you how you can set global variable to its value. In this case, we are setting the global variable A underscore last run date to our current O date. First, let me show you that we do not have that global variable available yet by issuing the ctm bar action list command. And as you can see, our global variable list is empty. Now, let's go back and order this job. And once this job completes, then our global variable A underscore last run date should be available. And by issuing this ctm bar minus action list again, you will see that our global variable A underscore last run date is now set to today's O date, 2014-12-17. Okay. Now, our V job checks that the value of that global variable, and if it is greater than 2 days old, meaning our A job hasn't run for more than 2 days, it will fail this job. In the variable section of our V job, we are setting A underscore date to the value of our global variable, and our min date, the minimum date that we can accept, to the date of 2 days ago using our $% calculate function minus 2 for our current date. So if we order this job, since our A job just ran, then it should end successfully. And it did. And if we look at the output of this job simply compares our A date, 2014-12-17, to our minimum date, 2014-12-15, and if it's greater than or equal to our minimum date, then it will end with a 0 condition code. Now, let's simulate what will happen if the A job has not run for a while. We can do that by setting our global variable last run date a value that is more than 2 days old. So we are going to use our CTM bar utility to set that value, in this case, to 2014-1201. Okay, and let's issue the action list to make sure that we have. And it is, as you can see, it is now set to 2014-1201. So if we rerun this job should not fail, should now fail. And it did. And if we look at the output of this job, we should see that now our A date is set to the value of our global variable last run date, which is now 2014-1201. And since it is not greater than or equal to our minimum date of 2014-1215, we get a bad return code on the job, and the job ends not okay. Okay. The next example I want to show you shows you how you can use a variable to delay the execution of the script that the job executes. If we look at the properties of this job, you will see that we are using the underscore sleep function of control M in our pre-execution command with a % delay variable. That means the control M will execute this job first, and we can control our delay by setting the value of our delay variable. Okay, let's go ahead and set the value of our delay variable using CTM bar. And for this example, let's set it to 120 seconds. Okay, and let's make sure it is set to 120 seconds. And as you can see, % delay is now set to 120 seconds. Let's go ahead and order this job. This job simply issues the command echo % time %. So normally it would run and end right away. But you can see, because we are delaying the job, it is still in executing status. Let me take the opportunity to show you the use of CTM SD bar. To be able to use CTM SD bar, we need the order ID. Also, to show you this, I have also defined a variable in this job, delay underscore bar 1, set to the value this job is delayed by % delay. And so if we issue our CTM SD bar with our order ID 0276Z and %% delay underscore bar 1, it should say this job is delayed by 120. Our % delay is 120, and so I also want to take the opportunity to show you the use of CTM SD bar to display system variables and results of functions. So when you're not going for a specific order ID or a specific job, you can use the order ID 0. And so in this case, that displays our ODate variable. You can also use this to check the result of functions. So it will look, use getENV to obtain the value of the home environment variable from control M server. Then we get /home/CTM8. Let's go look at what's going on with our job. It has completed successfully. If we look at the output of this job, you will see that it echoed 922.07. If we look at the log, this job started executing at 9:20. If we didn't have that delay, it should have echoed that time, but because we had the delay, it echoed 9:22, and as you can see, it ended at 9:22 as well. Okay. The next example I want to show you shows you the use of a variable list using the %% live min sim special variables. Let's look at this job. And as you can see, we are setting our %% live min sim to the value home CTM8 vars vlist. That file has to be accessible from the control M server. So if we look at that variable list in control M server using the cat command, you will see that is indeed a list of variables, those %% on the left, and a list of variable values. So if we order this job simply echoes those variables that are listed in live min sim. And if we look at the output of the job, you will see that it indeed just echoes our variable values. In the script, we were echoing our variable names. Okay. The next sample that I want to show you shows you how you can use a variable to modify which script you want to run on a particular day. Let's look at this job. This job uses the script, and as you can see, we are using %% OW day as a variable in our script. That means since OW day is the control M system variable for the day of the week, if this job runs on a Monday, it will execute echo underscore day 1 dot bat, and if this job runs on a Friday, it will run echo underscore day 5 dot bat. Let's go ahead and run and order this job. If we look at the output of this job, since today is a Wednesday, it should say that if this runs today, must be Wednesday. Let me show you the list of echo underscore day. So in this particular example, because it is Wednesday, it executed echo underscore day 3. Had it been a Friday, it would have executed echo day 5. It would have said it's a Friday. That concludes the demo section of our presentation. Let me go back to our slides. Okay. Let's look at where you can find more information on variables. You can find information on control M variables in Chapter 7 of the Control M Workload Automation Guide, Parameter Guide, and information on the utilities in Chapter 8 of the Utilities Guide. You can also find the same information by hitting the F1 key while in Control M Workload Automation GUI. Let's look at a couple of knowledge articles concerning the use of these variables. Here are 2 knowledge articles related to variables you might be interested in. The first one discusses the use of variables in a Windows batch script. We pretty much showed you that in our first job sample. It also touches on the variable inc underscore sec parameter of Control M server and the auto-edit inline parameter of Control M agent. The second one talks about disabling the ability to modify variable values at the time of order by default. That would be the default starting in Fixpack 5 of version 8, Fixpack 7 of version 7 for Control M Enterprise Manager, and in Fixpack 3 of Control M Server version 8. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to attend this presentation. I hope the information provided was useful.